All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are learning Torah Samech, Torah 60. We are holding by Seif Gimel. We explained in the nutshell, Rabbeinu is teaching us an incredible Torah. He builds an amazing structure. And this, it starts with, it deals with the highest level of rectifications in existence, called Tikkunei Atik. This is the Tikkunim that Rosh Hashanah is doing. He told us basically that there are lanes in Torah that encompass, enable a very deep, very precise, very comprehensive insight into the Torah. And in order to get this kind of insight, what is needed is a tremendous amount of wealth that is necessary to get these Shvila Torah. And the way to do it, when you come to think of it, what connection do we have to Tikkunei Atik? The rectification of Atik Yomin is the Keser. That's Sheva Yochai. Well, what's got to do with me? But for each and every one of us, there is a certain bechina, a certain aspect of Tikkunei Atik, and the way to do it is something which is definitely Shava l'chol nefesh. And Rabbeinu says the way to do it is by adding Kedusha every day, every hour, every day. Ultimately,
way to get the wealth?
Yeah, to get this kind of spiritual wealth. Yeah, but we're talking about money b'kedusha. We're not talking about money that comes from the Sitra Achra. We're talking about money that, as we will see later, we're talking about money that is clean from any kind of sorry? It's not just illegal activity. That's definitely one facet of it, but it's also clean from the urge to be rich, from greed. It's clean from the taiva to own things.
How does it come to you then? How does it come to
Oh, so it comes to you through being moisif v'oilach b'kedusha every single day, every single hour. Right. He says you start. Well, there's no Prakash Baruch who has his ways of giving it to you. That's not he doesn't need our aids on how to bring it.
We're not the ones that decide to catch that, right? Not us.
So what we're talking about is that we need a shirz b'kedusha. So you can say that there is lemaisa. He says, what does a person actually need? Tachlis, what does a person need? A person needs to have food, to have lodging, clothing, just basic things. There's no need for wealth, for gashmiasnik, except what you need in order to live. Now, there is wealth that is needed, as we will soon find in soon, is that is necessary in order to achieve this kind of in-depth hisbeinenus in those lanes of Torah. And the way to do it is by adding Kedusha every single day. And now you'd think, I mean, Rabbeinu, when he spoke, he said that he himself, he says that there's no breath that comes out of his mouth without renewal, the Kedusha. So, in other words, he took this particular principle and brought it down, to the utmost resolution, that it's every single breath required additional Kedusha. He said, if it's not for that, why do I need to be in the world? If I don't add Kedusha every single day. Shmuel Isaac was one of Talmid of Rabbeinu. He said that if he were to be told that he would have the same kind of Kedusha today as he had yesterday, or tomorrow like he has today, he says, you might as well chop my head off, he said. He's not interested. He's not interested. Life is all about widening the Gvula Kedusha. This is what life is truly about. Now, the very same way that you need enough money to eat, to live, clothe, and so on. It's just to learn simple Torah, just to learn Pashto Torah. The Bible says that there's a depth in the Torah when you learn, especially the Sisur Torah, that you have to have an immense amount of wealth in order to reach them.
Why?
So
Why do you
now,
need such wealth?
because
And why are you not saying wealth is happy with what you have?
it's exactly that. It's exactly that. It's two things. First of all, the regular definition of wealth is that you're happy with what you have. But it's also a definition of a true wealth when you have a lot of money, that you're still happy with what you have. Because if the money is not b'kedusha, the more money you have, the more worries you have. Marbe nechasim, marbe da'aga, right? That's what the Pirkei Avos says. The more possessions you have, the more worries you have. That's when the possessions do not come mitzad kedusha. But when the money is totally from mitzad kedusha, in other words, it is acquired through the means of widening your yira, not trying to, help Kadosh Baruch Hu, helping Kadosh Baruch Hu with, cheating a little bit.
What?
Cheating a little bit, helping Kadosh Baruch Hu, Kadosh Baruch Hu, of course he gives parnasa, but he needs a little help, as it were. It's like, I'll cheat a little, I'll cut some corners a little. That is a kind of wealth that brings misery. When a person is into, when things that the wealth itself is going to make me happy, this is when the wealth makes people unhappy. But when the wealth is just a side thing, it's not the main thing. The main thing is avodas Hashem.
It's about craving wealth.
So no, it's about, if you crave wealth, the wealth will make you miserable. Yes. If you crave wealth, if you crave possessions, it'll make you unwell. If you trust the Kadosh Baruch Hu and you concentrate on Yira, Kadosh Baruch Hu has ways of giving you whatever it is that you need. No, he has ways of giving you whatever. The only thing is that people have no patience. I got to help him along a little bit. If a person had a really, Yishuv Adas, then there would be no, things will happen, things happen in time. The main thing is not to get confused and not to be afraid. Things will come on time. I know there's a Breslau the Chassid of Bnei Brak, Reb Shmuel Hoffman. Shmuel Hoffman is a very sweet, a very tmimisdik man, over the Hashem, no chochmas, is not interesting in chochmas. And when he, before he got married, had some problems in getting shidduchim because he's not, the sharpest tool in the shed. But so he went to Miron. And he said, Shimon, I'm staying here, until I get a shidduch. I'm staying here until I get a shidduch. And he stayed, and they brought the shidduch to Miron. What do you think? Anush came to Miron, whatever it is, and they spoke, and then they started speaking. So there's a young woman that was divorced, and she had an apartment. A young woman with 2 children. She had her own apartment. So they offered him his shidduch. So they asked. So he asked Anush if there's any problem with that. And she's divorced. And she told him no. He says, okay. He had absolutely no chance of having money to buy an apartment. But he was very optimistic. He just went. It was the thing is that it started way before when he actually learned in Chabad. He didn't even know Breslov. Later on that he found out, and they gave him a tzav giyus to the army. Conscription. And he didn't want to go to the army. So he went to Kever Dan over here, Dan Ben Yaakov. And at the time, they didn't have the thing. Well, now they don't have it either because they ruined. They broke apart the big thing that they built around it. It's just a little house that they have now. This is what they had of it. And he went there, and so the Rebbeinu Shalom, they said, "I'm staying here, praying to you, davening to you, until they give me p'tor from the army." And he stayed there for a day. I don't know how long he actually stayed there, but the thing is that very quickly, I think the next day, he was there. He was crying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And at the time, and that was 50 years ago or whatever, or more, probably more. And the road that leads to Tzomot Shimshon over there was a very, very narrow road, and a truck driver that was driving produce for Tnuva heard him, calling out. So he stopped the truck to find out what was going on. And he told him what was going on. So from that day, he started bringing him food, vegetables, every single day. He would drop in vegetables so that he had what to eat. And until, of course, from his family, they brought him, he got a p'tor from the army. They brought 2 Kever Dan Ben Yaakov. Same thing happened now. When he married off his children, actually his children went with my son of, one son that I know went with my son of Ramat Yeshiva. He said that he worked all his life. He worked as a first he worked as a mashgiach, and then he worked in the fish store, and they came to speak shidduchim. So the other person, the mechutin, said, how much money can you give it to buy an apartment, whatever it is? So he said he has $18,000. So the guy laughed at him. The apartment cost what, 60 at that time cost what, $65,000 or whatever it is. The apartment cost was $18,000. It's nothing. You don't have it. So he became very upset. He says, "What do you want to be? You want to be machshel me with loans?" Rabbeinu says not to take loans. So the guy, he said, "This is what I have. This is what the money that he had. That is what I'm giving. That's it. He's not borrowing. He's not doing anything. This is what I have. And what do you think?" And it's himself, all the money that was necessary to buy, everything came there. He gave whatever it's mimis, yashus. Every single day adding the Kedusha and Yeshiva Das. Rabbeinu says, don't take loans. You don't take loans. Rabbeinu said, you wait, you'll get the ashiras through widening your days, building that longevity, those. So that's the way you do it. People are screaming in the background. Let them scream. Yeah, but if it's the but that's the thing that brings us down. We all do it. We don't want to be uncomfortable. We don't want to suffer the consequences of that. We don't have what it is called gemiros das, resoluteness. There's no resolution. There's no resolve. I'm resolved in my mind. That's the way I'm living. That's what Rabbeinu says. That's the right thing to do. That's the way I'm going. If it doesn't work, I cry out to God, Rabbeinu Shalom, this is what you said I should do. Yeah, but everybody and his uncle are doing this and doing that. Okay, so that's everybody and his uncle. So the thing is that when people don't have the patience for their Yeshua, then Rabbeinu says people don't want to suffer a little, they end up suffering a lot. And it's true for each and every one of us. It's not just, So the main thing is that Tosfos Kedusha, it brings what happens is the more Kedusha you put into your life, the more you recognize, as we'll learn later, the greatest HaKadosh Baruch Hu that brings Yira to a person. Yira is the motivation for Kedusha. Yira is the motivation for advancement in Avodas Hashem. And it says, and the reason why Yira is the thing that brings you the wealth. The reason why Yira brings the wealth, because Yira guards a person from the opposite of wealth, which is poverty. The thing that brings poverty to a person is the Yetzer Hara of women. When a person exposes himself, and it's not just other women, besides his wife. It's also when a person with his wife. The thing is that as Rabbeinu says, that a person needs to be, when he has, Baruch Hashem, a good wife, he has to behave with a lot of yira. Not allow, not use, okay, now I have a toy to satisfy my needs. That's not what it's about. It's and whatever it is, but the thing is that the problem with what Rabbeinu calls a hevel hayofi, the beauty of women, the coveting the beauty of women, it doesn't necessarily have to be because a person needs that the person has a meshicha specifically to the physical act of doing it. That's a problem all its own. But it can come for various other reasons. In fact, Taivas Noshim is the universal antidepressant. you know, I'm depressed and I'm bored. I know what to do with myself. So I hold up and hold up and hold up. And eventually, you know, I'm too bored. I don't know what to do with myself. I have too much time on my hands. Or for various reasons that some people, it's about a question of validation. People that have rejection issues. For them, even their wives, being with them is an issue of validation. It's not the Taiva Gashmi, but nevertheless, I mean, they use it for what it's. That's not the purpose. I'm able to be with my wife. That validates me. It means that I'm not rejected. That means that I'm worthy. That means that's one of the ways that that people are, when people are exposed to this Indian of Yofi and Noshin, that leads to problems, that leads to poverty, that leads to the hepech of the wealth that we're talking about. That's what it says. Sheker achel v'hevel hayofi, yishoyer Hashem b'tisalo. The main thing is to the year a person stays away from the beauty of women. It's because Rabbeinu says that.
I have a question.
I understand that you have a question.
No, you don't understand. I didn't hear the question yet.
I didn't say that I know what question you have. I said I understand that you have a question. That's all I said.
I asked you. You need to, when you're dating, you need to be able to see the woman that you're.
Yeah,
that's
a halacha requirement. It's a different thing.
So.
No. Listen, there are certain people, that hold of such a madriga that are able, to see because it's also to be mekadosh the woman until you see her.
So I have a question on this. I just thought maybe today, like I dated a woman, a divorcee. You can't see her really. Her hair is covered. She was a big thing. I don't even know what color hair she has.
Why do you need to have the color hair? I don't know.
No, but if you need to have some type of attraction,
I don't know.
I can't tell.
Well, I don't think that the attraction we're talking about is something that is like basically there's somebody who looks pleasant, and you're getting along with, somebody, a woman that you're going out with that disgusts you, you should not marry. It's not a question whether you see everything that there is to see, and therefore that's not the point. Well, you don't need to see everything. It's just like whatever it is that you see, basically, you see, a person has two levels of being married. Okay, there is Yichud Elyon, Yichud Tachton. Yichud Elyon is infrequent. Yichud Tachton is constant, rather intermittent, and the one is Tachton. The Yichud Elyon means that's the private, intimacy between a husband and wife. This is something that happens every now and then, each one according to his nature, whatever it is that he wants and so forth, or she wants, whatever it is. The Yichud Tachton means the fact that people are married. They're married all the time, day and night, when they're cooking, taking out the garbage, so this is constant. Okay, the main intercourse between a man and a woman is talk. The intimacy at the best takes just a very little time out of marriage. Here and there, whatever it is, and that's it. The rest of the time is Okay. Rabbi Weiss, if you can please mute yourself, I'd appreciate it. Okay?
The main attraction is the tachton where you're just getting along nicely.
Yeah, no, yeah, but there has to be basically the way that you see her now is plus minus the way that you're going to see her on a day-to-day basis. That's the way they're supposed to like her.
That's the way what?
That's the way you're supposed to like her, looking at her and being with her. That, this is what is more than necessary. You don't have to go you're not 20, you're not 18, it's just, it's not necessary. I mean, some people are so kadoshim. We are not of Shmuel Shapiro. Shmuel Shapiro, when he met his wife, she was both sickly and extremely uncomely. Extremely so. Now, she was nobody's fool. So when she met him, Shmuel Shapiro was the prize of the Bocher Min Yishalayim of Shiva Etz Chaim. It was when they met, he said, yeah, he's fine. He's willing to marry her. So she said, why would you want to marry me? She knew that she was, I don't want to say ugly, but that's what she was. So he said, it doesn't make any difference to him. He said, I don't intend, to be looking at you, during our marriage. Look at you. Halacha now, I'm looking at you because it's forbidden to be Mekadesh the Isha until you see her. But that's it. I have no intentions of, she says she doesn't want to marry him. She's Michigan. Yeah, that's what she said, get married, a man is not going to look at me. It's himself, she did marry him. And she made him eat crow for many years. And Shapiro was, he went to Koilel, whatever money he got, just gave it to her, went to the Feld. No, didn't have anything to do with that. The only thing is he put a little money on the side. He saved a little money for her, which I'll tell you what he did with. But other than that, he didn't, he's into Avodas Hashem, it has nothing to do with anything. And Enochinami, he did not look at her, but it doesn't mean that he helped with the house, he helped with the children, he was into everything. He was a wonderful, gracious husband. The only thing he didn't do was just look. He didn't look outside of his Daled Amos. That's the way he was. So he could do it. We couldn't do it. It's very simple. It so happens that she actually once took him to the Beis Din and demanded a divorce. What kind of a husband does she have? She did not. That's what later. But Rav Bengis took one look at Shmuel Shapiro and chased her out of the Beis Din. She said, "Go home and be a good woman. What are you hacking in China? Where are you going to find another one like him?" And it's himself, after years, he took all this little money that he saved and he sent her for to a convalescence home, whatever it is, for a few days. Should have a shtickle vacation, whatever it is. That's the only thing that he took the money for. Just to give her after a few years. People came from the convalescent home after to look who is Reb Shmuel Shapiro. So he says, why are you looking? Why? He says, because there's a woman in the convalescent home that said that her husband is a tzaddik like Moshe Rabbeinu. After all those years of giving him grief and everything, it's it all. So the point is that if she's reasonable and you find that okay, it must be it's good. The main thing is that you feel that you can get along with this. You feel that yichud atachta, yichud ha'elyon is beseder. You're supposed to be in the dark anyhow, so it's not a. It's supposed to look, see everything. What color? What's the difference of color? Is it blonde or black or who cares? That's not an issue. Person should stay away from that. That's why over Mavino and Yitzchak came to the places where people were not careful of that. They felt, according to their Madrega, the beauty of their own wives. They say, Mavino saw Sarah Meinu, and Yitzchak, was with Rivka. And so immediately when they felt, suddenly they felt this the beauty of their own wives, immediately they took a remedial action and forbade upon themselves to be with their women, the yichud with their women, as if their women were their sisters, temporarily. No, temporarily doesn't mean forever. Forever is not temporarily. So they when Avimelech said, "Why did you say that she's your sister?"
Remember they said it would be killed.
So they said, so he says, "Why would you say that she's your sister?" Avimelech asked him, "Why did you say she's his sister?" He says, "I will be killed. Why? Yeah, because en yiras ki amarti rak en yiras Elokim amar kamazeh. There is no fear of Hashem in this place."
That's what they would do. They kill people.
Well, listen, it all depends. In that particular, we're talking about women as beautiful as Sarah, Meinu, and Rivka. Yeah, that's kind of a problem. And
No,
then
I don't understand. Why do you kill the husband to take her?
Hmm?
Why just take her? Why did they kill her?
well, maybe the husband wouldn't go along with it. Stalin used to say his policy is no person, no problem. Eliminate the person, eliminate the problem. Yeah.
What?
Eliminate the person, you eliminate the problem. You take her, she does, she wants, she doesn't, whatever it is, then you eliminate the husband and finish. Some people are like that. Not you, not me, but Avimelech and Paro, yeah, that's the way they are. Yeah, finish.
They're bad people.
And Yiras Elokim. That's why v'achakach tiken Avram zeh shimshich arichas yomim. כמו שכוסו ויגר Avram es plishtim yomim rabim. Avram lived, and of plishtim yomim rabim means many days, wide days, full days. B'chinas Yiras Hashem toisef yomim. The Yiras Hashem adds days. V'achakach kilkelu plishtim kol hatikunim shetiken Avram. Then the plishtim spoiled all the tikkunim that Avram did. And all the wells that Avram Avinu built at the time of Dam Yitzchak, the Plishtim plugged up all the wells, because it means they plugged up all the tikkunim that he did with this year with Yer Shemaim. So, and when Yitzchak came, Yitzchak came to Grar with, he said about Rivka, that his wife, that she is a sister, and means he forbade upon himself to be with her as if she was his sister, until he managed to draw arichas yamim at kedusha properly, until it was already possible for him to take off this isser that he put upon himself, that saves from this. Then she was allowed to him. When the days became long, in other words, he stayed there for a long time. Watched out of the window, and he saw that Yitzchak is together with his wife Rivka, and in other words, that the days became longer, but this is Rosh we talked about. And because he was able to insert a lot of Yiras Shamayim, Arichos Yomim, he was zecher to wealth. Moshe Kosev, Vayizra, Yitzchak Baratzai, V'imtza, V'shana hi, Mea She'orim. And Yitzchak saw saw the land, and that was a time of of famine, and the wherever it is that Yitzchak planted grew 1,000 times over everybody else. Kadosh Baruch Hu has a way to bring the wealth to a person. A person doesn't have to worry about what kind, is this a good profession, a bad profession, or this and that. Kadosh Baruch Hu gives yourself with everything and with anything. The main thing is you widen your days with more yira, with more kedusha, and let Kadosh Baruch Hu worry about how to bring you the wealth. You'll have yira, you'll have kedusha, you'll have money, you'll have everything. This is it for today, B'ezrat Hashem, and B'ezrat Hashem next week we will continue. This is to enable you people and me to make Ma'ariv at 9 o'clock. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Be mitzvah.